You didn't say something this time.
I thought about it.
You did. Why are you nervous?
Because I'm sitting across from you in the hot seat.
It's not the hot seat.
Ask anyone who sat in it if they feel like it's a hot seat or
Some
not.
people get nervous. I don't know why they get nervous, though. There's no point.
I feel like the people who know you get nervous.
Why?
Because you never know what you're going to do.
Wild card. I'm not that unpredictable. I feel like I'm pretty predictable.
You're predictably unpredictable.
I don't know what that means. I know what it means, but...
You can expect to react a certain way given certain situations. But then there's other ones where it's like, for example, when you do a podcast, you know that you're going to pull questions out, but like from the deep, dark depths of wherever you go to get them, but you don't know what you found or what questions those are going to be.
Yeah, but I've known you for 13 years. Don't you think I would have asked those by now?
If you wanted to, you've never really had a reason to go.
I literally asked you if you were a known criminal while we were sitting in customs.
Yeah, but that was a joke.
It wasn't really.
Oh.
It was just one of those like, hey, if I'm going to lie for you, I need to know right now.
Oh, I would never ask you to lie for me like that.
No, I know, but you could have like winked or something.
I wouldn't have been caught if I was a known criminal.
That's fair enough. I believe you. But that's exactly what a criminal would say, so...
In another life.
As in like before this life or like the next life?
As in another life. Yes.
That's
I have
concerning.
never been to jail. I've been to a jail.
Okay.
But I've never been the one behind the bars in the jail.
Not even for like a picture?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've also never...
Why did you go to jail? It's like a visit.
Not to... Well, I wasn't... I wasn't there to visit either.
Well, I mean, you didn't stay forever, so that's a visit.
No, but like downtown is like holding.
Okay, so you were put in holding.
I was not put in holding, but I had to go downtown to tell the police about something that happened.
Oh, right. I think I remember you telling me about that incident.
I've been to the police station 2 times, and neither time was because I was in trouble.
What was the other time?
Well, there was a time that like I was out with friends.
Yeah.
Right? And we're supposed to have girls' night, and then one of them got a phone call from her friend, and like his ex was in his house, which may have been her house. I don't really know.
Someone's house.
And he got hit on the head with a cast iron skillet. That was the first time.
And he bled everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. And then the second time was when I had to go talk to them about my cousin.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot I went with you on that one.
Did you?
Yeah. Fairly certain. I had to like go sit out. You were in like an actual like legit interrogation room.
It was an interview room. It was comfy as a...
Do you think there's like varying levels of how comfy it is, like based on the crime you're there for? Do you think there's like the friendly one where like they paint it bright colors and then just like once you're a murder suspect, you're just in the one that's just steel table?
Well, no, I think that like if you're a suspect, then you have like a cold, dark room in the basement, like you often see, just like a table.
Yeah.
But this was like deliberately for interviewing
friendlies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was more serene.
I vaguely remember being there. I don't know though.
It was comfortable in a way that you would expect a cop shop to be, as if like you told AI to design a room that was comfortable for police officers.
Just
it would take like the
coffee
most
machine and
bland,
donut dispenser.
Yeah. Like floor model couch with like a fake plant and put you in a box. Like you're still in a closed room with cameras.
Yeah.
But like instead of being on a plastic chair, you're on a discount sofa.
Like a Shein level sofa.
Yeah.
Or Timu.
Well, I think before the whole like, what was it? Kids in wardrobes? Wayfair?
Wayfair.
It was giving Wayfair.
Where you thought you were getting a wardrobe and you got a child.
Yeah. Took a chunk of their budget for sure.
I'm always curious if somebody, because like they would put like a dresser for like $40,000. Like, do you think there was a curious person that's like, I'm just really curious what this is like and I can just return it after, and then a child showed up and they're like, oh, do you think that's how they got caught?
I question the validity of the whole thing. If it was just like, I for sure feel like people were definitely using right out in the open websites for these types of communications.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have been like that type of thing. I think it would have been similar in like, you booked an Airbnb and like, oh, I can't accommodate, right? So it's like, our bad. This is not actually in stock.
Oh, okay. So
I feel like it blends in, but like
So,
you
like,
would
if
have
I-
known
yeah.
what you were looking for and it would have been like, you know, white dresser number 472.
Right.
And
Meanwhile, it's Abigail Brown. I don't know why.
yeah. Sure. I was trying to think of like, you know, Vera White.
Vera White. From Wheel of Fortune?
I was just thinking of a
I was thinking
color.
Vera Wang. That's
That's a
different.
that's a design, but same principle.
If I ordered a
applies.
dresser and Vera Wang showed up,
But I don't think that. But I think that was a contingency, right? Is that like you
Yeah.
get the information on the dark web or from
and
whatever
they give you the
unsavory
listing,
sources,
and that's how you pay.
exactly.
Right. Okay.
And then you know,
because then it
it's-
goes to a legitimate source, and
in the mess, like you know, and it's like you can leave comments or in the billing section, whatever. Like
they're waiting for like a code or something.
you're not actually putting in payment information. You're putting in like whatever they've told you to put in, so that people like on the other end know.
That's like legit, and you didn't just accidentally order the wrong thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like something stupid, like how many boxes of Cheerios can I fit in this dresser?
I guess it's like how I use like the word mango in Facebook Marketplace listings.
Yeah, like
Right,
when you get
like,
to the end of this, say mango.
Yeah, please respond with mango so I know you know how to read. It works.
Yeah.
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 No one's bought a car for me and accidentally got a child, so it's worked out pretty well.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. No, we have all 3 kids are still here.
Well, they're not here.
No, I know, not like right now, but I meant in general, we still owned them.
Yes.
Yes, they're still ours.
We have never lost custody or possession of any of our children.
We had to prove custody.
We did, which is why I'm making it very clear right now.
At one point in time, the government of Canada is like, we don't think those are yours.
Let's not.
That was a good time.
For no one.
Yeah. I mean, for the government of Canada. I'm
You
sure
mean
there was
for
some
the like
worker-
$7,000 I still have to pay back? Yeah.
Do you really? Do you still owe that?
I don't even know.
I don't
I
know
stopped
either.
checking.
It's like every year they just reset the total and it's just something new.
Sometimes I don't even open what they send me.
That's good. Ignorance is bliss.
It says Canada revenue, and I'm like, and I'll just recycle it.
At least you're recycling it.
Yeah.
I have noticed there is far less recycling in the United States.
Recycling, I think, is a scam.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm telling Katie.
Katie,
If you're listening to this,
I'm going to need you to chime in.
please prove to me that recycling is not a scam.
Well, because recycling is actually super difficult. So you need to
Yeah.
have things that are like not greasy and not dirty and not whatever. So the second that you throw like something that is one of those things in with everything else, then it just contaminates all of it. And so when you get to the actual recycling process, very little of it is recyclable.
I don't think it's a scam. I just think that like the amount that comes at the final end is not the amount that goes in. Like, let's say there's 100 units of cardboard going in.
Yeah.
There might only be 1 unit of cardboard that comes out.
Did you know that they don't sort recycling from garbage in Amsterdam?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What do they do with it?
If I recall correctly, my aunt was talking to me about this. Everything gets thrown out at once, and then they actually deal with all of the sorting at the facilities.
Because they don't trust the people to do it correctly? Or?
Well, not even just that. It was just like it was more cost effective because you need to have separate bins and separate pickups and separate schedules and separate containers and
Right.
separate et cetera. When it all goes to the same place and a lot of it ends up being mixed up together anyway. So they're just like, why do all of this? And so instead, you just
I mean, I guess, have you ever seen there's like a farmer on TikTok and he has a thing called the potato kicker. Do you know what I'm talking? No idea? Okay. So
no.
they harvest potatoes, and then as they come over a conveyor belt, there's like a scanner, and then it's got little feet. So the potatoes that don't match or that are like the wrong potato or the wrong size, little feet come out and kick them. And like as they're falling, these like little potatoes get drop kicked. And then those are the bad potatoes, and then the good potatoes keep going. So I'm wondering if
I want
that's
the bad potatoes.
you want all the bad potatoes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what like dehydrated potato is, just all the bad potatoes. Like those instant mashed potatoes we have in the cupboard right now, that's just bad potatoes.
I'm glad I gave them a home.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe that's what they do with recycling. I have no idea. But like it's like sees the can and just kicks the can.
Maybe. I haven't looked into it. I know that it was something that I had pointed out about how like, oh, does this get recycled? And it was like, no, it used to. And then like for the sake of efficiency and everything else, now it just all gets sorted at the plant.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, people suck at following instructions, as we both know.
I do wish though that we had like can or bottle return Like, and you can take your empties back to the like beer store or the LCBO, but you go to the States and you go into any grocery store and you can return bottles and cans for cash.
Oh, cool.
Right? Have you ever paid attention? Like when you walk into a Meijer, like there's usually like a section off to the side.
And when I go to the grocery store, I have my headphones on. I grab exactly what I need and try not to look anywhere other than where I need to.
People are motivated by money.
Yeah,
so like
I
if
agree.
you were to be like, hey, you have to go to the grocery store anyway, drop off all your like, why not? Same with like can drive. Remember bottle drives?
I do remember
like,
can and bottle drives.
Like now it's
mostly because my dad drank a lot of beer. So like I was like, I'm gonna win this one. All right, Gordo, it's time to buck up. I need you to support
like
the school.
The tabs off the top.
Oh yeah, I've never seen a wheelchair that they actually made out of those.
What?
That's what I remember that as a kid. They were like, we collect the pop tabs to make it into a wheelchair.
Really?
That's what I remember.
I don't remember what the fuck they were for. Am I allowed to swear?
You just did.
Sorry.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's literally the first episode. Setting the bar.
I made it pretty far.
Proud of you. Would you like me to just say fuck there? See? We good now?
Yep.
All right.
You'll know. Now the bar is gone.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
What did we do with them?
I don't know.
Where did they go?
Not a clue.
I thought it was a wheelchair. I don't know why I remember that, where it's like, we're going to melt it down in a wheelchair. I'm like, cool. Can't wait to see this when it's done. And then
we used to bring them into school.
Yeah. In like bags.
And envelopes. And like the water jugs. Like people would just have them full.
I don't remember anybody like that.
No? Oh, that happened at the schools I went to. Like they just bring in like those big blue collagen jugs full.
The ones that have been floating around in our van for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. They're not. The house has to be show ready.
Thankfully,
the van
doesn't.
Selling the van.
Oh my God.
It's a shit show.
I know. We have 3 kids. I get it. But it's bad.
Yep.
I saw you pull a container of cookies out of there today and then eat one.
I ate one of the cookies out of the container. Yes. I did.
It was a closed container. I will give you that.
It wasn't.
It was an open container. It's one of the containers that should have had a lid on it, but it did not.
Correct.
But you ate a cookie that was in the container. You didn't just eat a cookie that you found that wasn't a container.
No, it was a cookie that I made on Thursday at 10 p.m.
Right.
It is now Sunday, but I did eat that cookie.
Yeah, but it's one of the tube cookies, so it's fine. They don't have an expiry date.
No.
Yeah.
Like yes, it's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
No, it does not have an expiry date.
No.
I ate a piece of the Miss Fields cookie that was in my bag from when we all went together.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I ate it yesterday.
What is the most obscure thing you've ever found in your purse? You know, wait a minute. Why is that in there?
The most obscure thing?
Yeah. What is something that you're going to tell me and I'm going to go, babe, really?
I have to think about it. There's been a lot.
I know.
Like, I did have, so you know, sometimes you go like, well, it's not obscure, but you might be, okay. Anyway, you know, when you go to the grocery store, sometimes you're like, oh, like kids can have a piece of fruit for free while you're eating. Yeah. Well, I did have a banana peel in a bag, in my bag, that when I took it out, I didn't recognize that it was a banana peel because it had been in there that long. Was it like mostly liquid at that point? It was wet. It was just mush? It wasn't completely mush because it was the peel, but it was like, I'm like, what the fuck? That's up there. I put everything in my bag. I know. So you're like, can you find, like, it's not even, for me looking for it, it's not like that weird, like, it's a gross person, I'm not supposed to touch it. That's not it. I'm just like, I'm afraid. Like, I'm going to get stuck with, like, someone's going to stick me. Well, I didn't know your knife was in there, and I was digging You did know my knife was in there. No, okay. I knew at the time when you put it in there, but I didn't know that it stayed in there. Went, hey, babe, I'm about to go to a trampoline park with my kids. I probably shouldn't have a knife in my pocket. Right, but it was like 4 days later. We were like, hey, I still, like, I only have my sheath. And so I'd been digging around in my bag for 4 days, just like with sharp things in there. I'm actually shocked you didn't get cut. I've had a cactus in my bag once. Okay, that's up there. Like one of the little succulent ones. Mm-hmm. Why do they call them succulent? Because there's no way they're delicious. Maybe because they're cute. Like, you're so succulent. I thought succulent is specifically for, like, eating something. Or am I thinking suckling? Like suckling pig? Well, suckling pig, like suckling is the act
No.
of like
What's the
succulent is a descriptive word for
a succulent Chinese meal. Do you ever seen that?
What?
Have you never seen that video?
No.
This guy, like, he's like, he was a scammer or something, and he like got arrested while like in a Chinese restaurant.
Okay.
And he's he's doing like a proclamation
Right.
while he's being arrested. And he's like, you're going to arrest me while eating a Chinese meal, a succulent Chinese meal. He's like, this, what did he say? He's like, this is government manifest. It's so good. Like, I don't know if he's high or something, but like the words he's coming out with, he's like the cops trying to like put him in like a chicken wing or something, like a move to get him into the cop car. And he like comments, he's like, I see you know kung fu. Like, it's like one of the, like, if I'm ever going to get arrested, I'm going to yell and like put on a performance.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I don't believe you'll ever get arrested.
I'm pretty good at talking my way out of things.
You're also pretty careful. Like
sometimes,
like you do dumb shit.
I'm careful.
You do dumb shit.
I'm careful when it comes to legal things. I do dumb shit outside of legal things.
No, you also do illegal things, but you do them in safe spaces.
That's different. But fair enough. I meant more that like I am reckless with my allergies.
Yes.
Like I could easily, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of the easiest people in the world to kill.
If anyone ever called me to tell me that like you died.
Yeah.
One of two things happened.
Okay.
Someone or you was careless about your allergy and you didn't make it to a hospital in time. Or someone said, I have an idea that involves a vehicle.
Something moving fast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you're probably filming it.
There
There will be footage.
Yeah. Oh, no, there'll be footage. Like, I have a terrible habit of like, somebody will give me something to try out. Like Hearst had a, I can't remember what the hell the name of the brand is, but like really high powered electric bike. But it's basically a motorcycle that's electric. And we were in the pits last year in New Jersey. He's like, just give it like, you should take it out for a rip. I'm like, no, because I know what I get like. And I like, finally he talked me into it and I got on it and just like immediately pulled the front. Like I'd driven it maybe 3 feet. And in those 3 feet, I just immediately pulled the front end up and I'm just whipping through the pits. And I'm like, I need to get off this immediately.
You never told me about that.
No, I didn't, because you would get
I
worried.
can't wait to meet all of your friends who tell me all the shit that you do.
Oh my God. What was the... Yeah, that's a good point. How about you just don't meet them? We could try that. Because then I can't get in trouble.
Well, you don't get in trouble.
No, I get passive aggressive statements for 6 months.
Well, remember that one time where it was like 5 years before I learned?
We don't have to say exactly why on record. But yes, you found out about something that was very reckless.
You like to party and
did something stupid.
Yeah.
And then you had no idea.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
Or remember that time that you took our son?
I already know.
Remember that time you took our son to the States and it was just the two of you?
Mm-hmm.
And then he almost, broke his ribs because he rolled a golf cart with some strangers that you
multimillionaires, yeah.
Strangers with multi-millions of dollars.
Yes.
Took our son to drive.
So I was at a racetrack in Detroit. I was at M1 Concourse and it was for an event, and an older gentleman and his younger wife met us, and Xander, being as
charismatic,
I think that's a good way of putting it, charismatic as he is, made friends with this gentleman's wife, who was like, oh, you're so cute, like I'm going to adopt you. And he's like, and he like jumps up and hugs her and stuff. So they became best friends. And I was like, hey, cool, you're super rich. This is my in to meet you and hang out with you via my son. I did not put him on it. He did it of his own free will and accord.
He was 8.
Yeah. And very smart. Yeah. And then they let him drive their golf cart with like 6 people on it. And he was 8 and took a corner at full clip and just cranked the wheel and launched everybody off the golf cart. He landed on the grass, so he was okay. He had a couple bumps and bruises, but a bottle broke and like the wife got cut pretty bad. Like at least a dozen stitches across her leg. And the husband got beat up pretty good. And there's 2 people on the back. And I think Riley was one of them. Riley was on the back and he came running up. He's like, yo, don't freak out, but your son just crashed those rich people's golf cart. I'm like, cool, don't freak out. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, he was fine. They were more concerned about him. But then I took him for Taco Bell to shut him up, which did not work because he walked in the door and immediately was like, hey, mom, I crashed some rich people's golf cart. I hit my head, but don't worry, Dad got me Taco Bell. And I'm like, that is not what we discussed whatsoever. You were supposed to go straight upstairs and talk to no one with your Taco Bell.
That's my boy.
That's my boy. Yeah. Yeah, I do some pretty reckless things.
Yeah, I wonder where he gets it from.
The broken ribs were a grid life, and that was me on a golf cart.
Golf carts, man.
I know. I have a problem with golf carts. Did you know Erica broke, was it her collarbone on a golf cart? I think it was her collarbone. She rolled a golf cart too.
I have never been on a golf cart.
Really?
Never. I have never been golfing. One time I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even like just go golfing. I think it was Mark's brother.
Okay.
Was like
which brother?
Matt.
Okay.
He used to like break shit all the time. And golf was like the thing. And I could never get my hands to hold because I have boobs, right? So like I just didn't.
Right.
I just didn't. So you're like, no, you gotta swing. I'm like, I can't
get around them.
I can't get around them.
Yeah.
And that was an immediate no for me because if I'm not immediately at least good, I won't do the thing.
Just give up on it forever.
You can't give up if you don't try.
But you did try. So
No.
Therefore you gave up.
No, I didn't try.
You didn't actually swing?
I tested.
That's a blurry line.
I didn't get an outfit or go to the place.
You're just like in the backyard or like in the driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
Like in the basement, I think.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
It's definitely a blurry line though.
Blurred lines.
I wonder what happened to that guy.
If I recall, he's not doing well. I think he was like one of the first victims of like cancel culture. Like proper, like.
What would you do if like turns out you did have another life and you did something bad and you were going to be canceled? Like, what's the playbook?
Like, what do you mean?
Okay, so like, let's say somebody finds something from your past that you've never discussed and like you're going to be like quote unquote canceled. Like they go at you on TikTok and they're like, she did this thing years ago. What do you do? What do you think the appropriate response is?
I'm going to make fun of it.
So you full Ronnie Radke it.
Yeah, because the whole point is that people grow.
Right.
Right? So someone's going to be like, 10 years ago, she said the liberals were fucking, and I won't say the word.
Yeah.
Right? Because like it was mostly fine 10 years ago to like say certain words, right?
Words, yeah.
That aren't fine now. Or be like, yup.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was
18-year-old me was a fucking idiot. Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'd be like, yeah, you would have had to have spent so much time. If that happens, I made someone who I likely don't know because it's very rarely like someone you do know, right?
Yeah.
So it's someone I either don't know or haven't known for a while or don't know well that I triggered with something that I said where they spent so much fucking time trying to find something that would make people mad at me. And if you have to go back that far, I'm sure if you went into anyone's history, even 2 years back, you could find something where you'd be like, well, did you know? I think I'd be more interested if someone made something up. I'd be like, what's the next part? What do I do next?
That's a good point. Yeah, just like lean into it. Fight it with humor.
Well, and like I'm not really I'm too comfortable sometimes saying things on the internet.
I'm aware. We've had several discussions about the things you say on the internet.
But when you're openly admitting, I don't know.
But I think the difference is like what makes me more comfortable about some of the shit you say online is that you are actually verbally saying it. What I feel like gets most people in trouble is when they don't verbally say it. They type it and there's no context to it.
Yeah, because people are stupid.
Yeah, but they're looking for it. Like when it's in voice, you can understand inflection and tone and like the substance of the statement. But in text, it could be anything, right?
Well, even I'm going to argue that doesn't even matter, right? Like people, literacy and comprehension is such a problem.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if, and I mean, I have facial expressions, I have tonality, I'm like pretty animated on purpose. You can use like, you can tell if I'm joking, I'm smiling, I'm laughing. People will still pull what they want to based on what their own like triggers or personal feelings are, right? So I say, you know, just the other day, right? Like, I don't support the cell phone ban in schools.
Right.
And people are like, we didn't have them in the 70s and 80s. Bro, we don't fucking have pay phones anymore.
Yeah.
No one has a house phone anymore.
Yeah.
There's more cars, more subdivisions, less parks, less places to play. Half these kids' parents aren't home. People can't afford to have snacks. Like, we're not in the 70s.
Yeah.
So what I said is, I want to make sure that my children, based on the experience that we've had, have access to contact us when they feel the need to without feeling trapped within the confines of a school.
Right.
We send them there. We trust them to be safe there. But we have had experiences where our children were not safe at school, right? So people will take what they want and run so far with it. I'm like, that's not even anything at all what I said. And I will say it. Like, so it doesn't matter if I type it or if I say it. There's always someone that's like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, sometimes. Yeah.
You're not wrong, but not about this.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
This is an opinion.
I see it's your first time here.
Right. Have you been on the internet before?
Yeah.
Would you? I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. No. Like, just sometimes I don't hold their hand. I'll be like, I mean, I will say, I mean this as disrespectfully as possible. People will be like, you're so funny. I'm like, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And then I'll be joking, be like, you're an asshole. I'm like, it was a joke. It was a silly little joke. So knowing that it doesn't matter, then I guess I'll full Ronnie Radke, but also like Eminem. There are plenty of incredibly successful, famous people, politicians, like whatever, people who have influence that don't subscribe to that, like, because it's not an act.
Right.
So then you see like these actors or actresses or musicians who are playing a part, and that's not who they actually are. It's a parasocial relationship. That when they act out of character, which is really just being a person, people like latch to it. Like, that person did this and they did that. And it's like, they are a person. They have a lot of money. They were in the right place, the right time, knew the right people, have talent, whatever. But like, they're not expected to fight back. And like you'll say, like, oh, there's no point in punching down. There is and there isn't, depending on your personality, right? Like, for someone like, you know, Taylor Swift, she's never going to punch down.
She's not going to punch, period.
But she doesn't have to.
Right.
She, like, level here, fans insane. Like, there's no...
She didn't punch down, but she like punched across at Dave Grohl. Did you see that whole thing?
I don't really follow Taylor Swift. I just use that as an example.
But I follow Dave Grohl, so... Because he made like some joke about the band actually playing. Yeah. And that's why, like, it was in reference to Taylor. I think they were playing in the same city at the same time. Yeah. And then in like her next concert, she said something. She's like, and this is my live band who actually plays music the whole time. Like,
yeah, look, you look at, but it's more like, if she were to come out and like boldly state something that like someone said, or be like, yeah, Dave Grohl said this, and then this is what I'm going to do about it. A huge part of her fan base would be like, we support her no matter what she does. Yeah. A chunk of it would be like, oh, wait a minute. It breaks that character of sweet, kind, charming. Like, you do that, and now there's a part of someone's brain that's like, wait a minute, maybe she's not as... And when your entire persona is giving, caring, kind, compassionate, you know, understanding, brush stuff off, move it on, like, build up. Anytime you don't do that, it puts down, like, it cracks. The facade cracks.
Do you think it's easier then to have your, like, quote unquote persona be an asshole? So that way when you're not an asshole, they're like, oh shit, like a Ronnie Radke or like a heel in wrestling, where it's like, I can be an asshole as my persona. And the nice thing is, when I break character and I show that I'm a nice person, all I'm doing is gaining more fans.
I think that for some people that is how they do it. Yeah. I think they give you that, like, that's who I am. And like Simon Cowell, right? Notoriously just oh my God, Ramsey, Gordon, right?
I knew where you were going. I probably just wanted to see you struggle for a minute.
When
Gordon Ramsay.
Fuck you. that when they're in front of a camera, that is their role.
Right.
Is to be like oh my God,
Irate.
rage bait and get people like they're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But they have whole families. And like they have community, like they do shit, but people don't care about that. But I think that when it comes to some other people, myself included, it's not my persona. It's literally just that is what I'm like. That is what I'm like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like if you see me in public, you could get either one of those. Like you will get what you give.
Right.
You'll get what you give. And so it's not a persona as much as it is just like being, and I hate the word authentic because it's been so misconstrued in what that actually means.
Yeah, the term is actually like almost feels unauthentic now.
Right, where it's like, oh, you like authenticity, where it's like, no, okay. So like reality, transparency, authenticity, all of that means that sometimes I'm going to say shit that makes you angry, even if you are a follower who's been like, I was a follower, but you're aggressive. Babe, I've always been aggressive, just not to you. And now that I've said something that triggered you, that now I'm aggressive and you don't want to follow me anymore.
Yeah.
And you want me to be mad, but I'm not.
But when I was saying the stuff that you liked,
you were fine.
Yeah.
And I don't care for that. Right? Like that's not how, one, is parasocial. You don't actually know me. You don't know me at all. And it reminded me, he's like, Mom, 150,000 people know what you look like. And I'm like, could you not be so like, could you shush for a minute? Because he's right. That like, you might know what I look like, but you don't know who I actually am. Yeah,
but so this is the issue we kind of both have, is that like people feel like they do based on what gets displayed publicly.
Yes, and
right.
if you display consistently the same thing all the time as a persona or a facade or an act or whatever it is you're trying to portray, it's usually self-serving, right? If people want someone who's soft, then that's what they get with influencers who are makeup, and like that's not possible
to be like that
all the time. Yeah. But people will convince themselves that you are an anomaly. That is why you are the way that you are. That's why you have the money you have. That's why you have the following you have, because you're so sweet all the time. No, babe.
Yeah, there's very few people that are like that. Like, you're going to have to stop.
I'm going to have to do that. It's in my way. I talk with my hands.
I'm just talk like this way. I'm like, wow. I agree, though. Like, I feel like The Rock is probably way more dark and twisted than what he lets on. But he's like, cool, I have an entire industry based on what I'm like, so now I'm pigeonholed to this thing, right? Whereas, you know, even what I portray online is pretty close. Like it's pretty spot on, but there's like a large chunk of my personality that does not get displayed online because I enjoy having a career that's public, and my dark and twisted nature should not be put on public display.
Well, I think it's for you. It's tactical too.
Oh, it's 100%
right?
tactical.
Because the people who once they get to know you, right, and it's like I think it might have been like Tom Holland, who's like, you know, if I've said something that upsets you, text me, and if you don't have my number, then like I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
and it's like that. And for you started your career before your face was put on camera. Right? Like you had started building those relationships and working in the industry and like networking before it got to the point where like you're like, so you kind of had already established yourself in a certain way that had you been put on screen, like so many people would be like, what is this? If you did something different. And you've always approached things in a logical, like, this is a business. I can be fun. I want to have fun. But at the end of the day, we're here to do a job and we need to be efficient and whatever. So you have fun within a confine, like a,
yeah,
you have lines, right?
I have to trim the edges off of my personality for what I do.
But when the clock out comes, you're tipping fucking golf carts. Well, I think it's like
yeah, like I never wanted to be like the Steve-O, right? Like I never wanted to be the Steve-O or the Chris Farley or the John Belushi or anything like that. Like that's not. I can be like that a lot. I just like on camera, it's not what I want to be known for. Right.
No, so it's integrity.
But it's like, I would rather in a similar way to like someone being negative and then being positive outside of that. And it's cool. I would rather it be like, oh, this is what I want. Like I'm curating what I want the reflection of me to be. And then if somebody very much gets to know me, they get that, because that never turns off. That like hyper analytical, detail oriented.
That's just who you are.
That doesn't turn off. But those people that are close to me get to see that.
Like autism.
And then you get to see, the other shit, like, climbing in Garrett's window on New Year's Eve. Like, right? Like just the ridiculous stuff.
Yes. And a lot of the time that stuff isn't filmed. You have this thing too where like you're not sentimental in the traditional sense, but you are in when it comes to having those moments with your friends, the people who are closest to you. It's not for everyone else.
Right.
Like you will be the first one to be like, actually set it as like, I want this to not be documented because that does take something away from the, like, it's one of those things walking away and being like, only we know what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, and that's it.
I want nostalgia to live in my head, not on a hard drive.
Yeah. Or to like, and not always, but in certain situations where it'd be like, yeah, like we're not going to film this or that's not what that's for.
We've definitely documented some stupid shit. I have one hard drive that's got like all the can never be released, which I should probably just like destroy. Should probably destroy it. But
do you want to tell me anything off camera that I need
to know? No, you're
like,
good. You're good. No, it's just got like certain famous race car drivers doing some very ridiculous things.
Oh, I could probably guess who those race car drivers are.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's tough because like I very much want to push what I do in this industry. Like I want to keep climbing, I want to keep going. I still like make jokes that like, yeah, the hand tattoo is not a great way to get into F1, but I've always been someone where I want to prove people wrong. So it's like, even when I had the mohawk, right? Like a giant mohawk.
Yeah.
But I was very polite in public. I'd open doors for old ladies because I'm like, I want to be a contrarian. I want people to be like, oh, some like stupid ass punk. And then it's like, oh, he's helping an old lady with their groceries.
It's changing the conversation, right? And I've tried to explain that we both have faced like adversity and you've always been like stand out in one way, and I've looked like this since I was 16 years old, right? Like I've had tattoos since I should have, like before I should have had them. Colored hair and tattoos and piercings like have always been outside the cusp of what is acceptable,
right?
And that is, I think now looking back in retrospect, for some people that pushes them towards a negative path where you're constantly receiving that criticism and being told you're never going to amount to anything. And if you look like that, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And for others, it's like, watch me show you how wrong you are.
Right.
And I'm going to do it by taking your job. I'm going to do it by getting your mom to love me. I'm going to do it by getting the people closest to you or who you look up to be like, actually, that person's pretty great. And we've both done that. Yeah.
We both like to play life on hard mode.
Yeah, because it's boring otherwise.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's boring. And I've like, remember that video where the girl who had like the face tattoos and the Baphomet, right? And I was like, when I discuss those things, right, I can be passionate, but it also is elevated, right? Like, I'm not criticizing you.
No.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that as someone who has been 10 years younger and your age and your very situation, having visible tattoos and face piercing and whatever, you can get the job. But the attitude has to like immediately outweigh. And a lot of the time being taken like as less than right off the bat is such an advantage because the flip is so much more dramatic. One of the hockey moms, Xander was hanging out with one of the kids, right? So I went over and we're having a drink and she told me, she's like, honestly, dude, like the first time that I saw you, hadn't even met you. She's like, oh, great. Like one of those moms, like trashy. She's like, and she's super honest, right? So I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, she's like, let me finish. I'm like, I was good. Don't worry. I want to see where this goes. And she's like, but then I met you. And I've spoken to you. And she's like, and now I'm wondering why you don't have a PhD. Like, she's like, you carry yourself. And I've changed her perception alone of a large group of people just based on interacting with her in a way that was like far above what some of the other adults that she is used to interacting with who look a certain way do.
But by getting people to underestimate you in the beginning,
Right.
you have the advantage that you're like, listen, I can screw up a little bit, and you're going to assume that's going to be the case.
Right.
Whereas like, she sees a similar lady in a power suit carrying a laptop with, a $50,000 watch, and you just automatically assume that person's successful and smart. And
Right.
if they're anything less than that, you're like, oh, well, you're a poser, or
Yeah.
whatever you want, whatever the kids are saying now. Right. Some Sigma, I have no idea.
So Ohio.
So Ohio.
Zero Riz.
But by having, by being underestimated right off the bat, you can kind of get away with a bit more. You can fly under the radar, and then when you pop up, like, oh shit, where'd you come from?
Yeah. I also taken complete advantage of the fact that I have a boy name.
Really?
Oh my God.
Do that?
Always. I don't go by Jessee Lee because that is immediately feminized.
Right.
Right? Jessee,
Yeah.
without an IE, is immediately, because my name's not with an IE,
That's EE.
is immediately interpreted as male. And the number of times that like I've interacted with clients who haven't like seen my face, right? And I never had she, her, like I never put those in because I would have people that we worked with, even recently, respond like, oh, he, thank you, sir.
Right. I do remember that.
Right?
Okay. I remember that.
And the responses that I get when people assume that I'm a man without seeing my face or my profile, like whatever, are so much more considerate, concise, and like communicative. And then when they learn, like when I pop on camera, because I don't correct them, that's like one of my like micro, like I never said, you know what, you go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
And then I get on camera and I'm introduced and they're like, that moment of like, you can't backtrack now.
Yeah.
You have to continue giving me.
Yeah.
Because I have seen the contrast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just being a woman in the automotive industry, right? Like people immediately assume like, oh, she has no idea what the hell she's talking about. Which don't take you as seriously.
I've worked really hard to be like, matter of fact, I know more than you, but I don't say it that way.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right? I can joke about it,
Yeah.
but it's almost always a pose it as, oh, well, what do you suggest?
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, here's why I don't think that that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or I encourage you to test it at your earliest convenience.
Fuck around and find out.
Basically.
Yeah.
Right? Or, this is sometimes it'll be, that's the other part too, is people are so worried about like tiptoeing around the right way to say something.
Yeah.
That something doesn't even get said. Mm-hmm. Where I've even like in my current role, right? Like I'm working in proper corporate. Like I'm not even in automotive at the moment. I'm wearing like software. Mm-hmm. And I'll be in a meeting and be like, sorry. What are we doing? Mm-hmm. Like, what is the point? Like, I don't want to circle back. I don't want to put a pin in it. I don't like, thank you for your thank you for your input. You did not understand the assignment. Why didn't you understand the assignment? Like, we're here all together. You're clearly showing, and everyone is just sitting here being like, okay, well, what if we did this? What if we just figured out why you didn't understand what we're talking about? And then let's fix that problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm a new person, and I don't care who you are or what your position is. As far as I'm concerned, you're in a company. You have an answer to a question. I'm not going to go to 3 people before me who are below you to ask them to ask you a question because they're not here. They're on vacation. Hey, do you know the answer to this, or the person who does? I've had that happen 3 times where my boss is like, oh, you asked them? I'm like, you're on vacation. So are the other 3 people that I would normally go to. And that is the person who is highlighted as the VP of that department. So why wouldn't I ask that person?
Yeah. Not going to wait 2 weeks for someone to come back from vacation.
That's
to forward
insane
an
to me.
email. Yeah.
Right. And then people notice that. Mm-hmm. And it goes one of 2 ways. Management and higher ups are like, yes, because I get shit done.
Yeah.
And other people are like,
equals like, you went over me, you went around me. It's like, I just got the job done.
Right. I'm like
if you want to be here. Yeah. If you want to be insulted that I got the job done, that I actually made sure that you had less shit to do when you came back.
And the ones who will like jump down, because I will literally go to the VP or say something that's above them and be like, hey, so-and-so, who I would normally ask this to, is out on whatever PTO. Yeah. I'd like to get this wrapped up by end of week. Could you please point me in the right direction? Do you have the answer to this question? And I get the answer, and it's never like I'm going over, right? If you're here, I'm going to ask you. Mm-hmm. But if you're not here or you don't know, I'm going to ask the next person. I'm going to handle it, because me sitting here waiting is torture.
There's no benefit to it.
0.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I struggle with that right now. I'm struggling a lot with the pace of molasses.
Yeah, the corporate slowdown. I mean, I had that happen when I went to that spot in Wisconsin, right? Mm-hmm. I was just like, couldn't figure out why I was doing something that went to a lead, that went to like a manager, to a supervisor, to then the department lead. And then it got up to like the VP. And I mean, ultimately it caused a huge issue because my incredibly important information
got telephoned.
Never got to the correct person in time.
Or didn't get there right. Didn't get there correctly.
Yeah. Well, and then when it got there, they're like, hey, we need you to get here now to fix this problem. I'm like, cool. I told you about it in October. And now it's January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do miss kitchens for that because like there is no delaying.
No, you're screaming
Fix
it.
You're right
screaming
fucking now.
Yeah.
I don't care if we don't have it. Figure out how to make it. We don't need maple syrup. Make it.
Yeah.
We've done that.
I know. I remember making maple syrup out of like, we didn't have maple extract either. We were like taking like vanilla and nutmeg and like other things to get it the same way with like agave nectar. We're like, this is as close as we're going to get.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is no, oh, I can't. And like even, and there's someone that I work with that like I won't even speak to now because I was asked to take over a task for someone else who's no longer there. We're filling that role. And as a new person, I still knew more about this particular program. So I get in there, but there's a back end side of it that someone else had been doing before. So I reached out to them like I was told to. And they're like, oh, I actually haven't done that in a while. So like, you should ask someone else. And I was like, never asking you again.
Yeah.
Because you have still done it 3 or 4 times more than I have.
And you've provided me no
and I have a
information.
week to figure out how on top of my regular stuff. And your response after I was told that you were already aware that this was happening was, oh, like you should, okay, I'll ask someone else. And I am never, you don't exist anymore.
That email's deleted. Yeah. Remove you from the contact book. Lose that phone number. Yeah.
And I'm fun and I'm nice unless you're stupid.
Yeah, I have very little time for like, not even stupidity. I'm okay with stupidity. It's like willing ignorance that like drives me crazy.
It depends on the position. I have like if someone is, I have the most patience for someone who is like actively trying to learn.
Yeah.
If you have no idea what you're doing and you've come in there with like, and you're honest about the fact that you don't know something.
Yeah.
I have the most tolerance and patience because I'm going into it being like, this person is trying to learn and I can teach you. If you come in and you're like, no, I've done this before, then go do it.
Yeah, it's the willful ignorance. It's that's the part that always frustrates me. I don't mind stupid people. I find them entertaining in most cases.
I'm a little jealous.
Well, no. Like I separate it though. Like there's ignorance. There's ignorance where you just don't know. Like you've never known. Like in this situation, you were to ask somebody and they're like, I don't know what that opinion. Like I don't know what that thing is.
Yeah,
that's just ignorance, right? And I like that word is such a loaded word in so many occasions, but like that's when you just doesn't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm not mad. And then like, if you were to ask somebody and you're like, hey, you've done this a few times and you know, whatever. And they're just like, oh, I don't remember. Like that's stupidity for sure. But the willful ignorance is somebody who's like, yeah, I did it, but like, I didn't retain any of it. Like you are actively using energy to not understand something. That is where I draw the line.
The unteachable.
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be someone who's like, no. There are people who do not have the cognitive ability to do certain things.
Right.
I will never hate someone because they don't know how to read or they don't know how to do something or they're not capable of learning it if they've tried and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's because they're not capable. Sometimes I'm teaching them. Like I have the most like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's the ones who, like you just said, are either, yeah, but like, I didn't really pay attention. Then why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, or you've done this 500, like cooking. You've cooked, I will never forget.
You've made cheesecakes.
Peaches.
Yeah.
Fucking peaches.
Yeah.
You know it's berrylicious. You know that... You know what our menu is. It's been set for a week and a half. You know what time service starts.
Yeah.
You know what your station is. You know what you're supposed to have done. And why are you grilling peaches while service is about to fucking start?
Yeah.
This isn't even your side of the kitchen.
This takes 15 minutes.
Fuck out of my way.
We're about to start.
I used to be very angry. I used to throw things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that anymore.
As much.
Well, I don't physically throw things.
No, mentally or verbally you throw things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am intentional with my words.
Mm.
Yeah. But how I say things is very dependent on how you have started something. Not you in particular. Well, sometimes
Yeah, sometimes me.
Sometimes you.
Yeah.
But like if someone comes to me with a question and it's a question that I've answered 3 times and they're expecting grace. No.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't listening. I've answered this 3 different times. So now I've wasted my time and you're wasting it again. And now I'm wasting it here with you. If it's, hey, I know we talked about this a few times. I've got this and this and this. If you come to me with a problem and like what you've done already or a solution that you think might work or the pieces that you're missing, we're good. Let me help you. How can I help? I will be the first one to like take on something that's not mine to help something get done for the team. But if you're lazy or you have like the emotional capacity of a toddler, I simply just cannot. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm of the same vein where like, you know, our old staff, I would tell them like, you can come ask me like what you think I should do, but I'm going to need to hear what you think we should do in that conversation. Like, don't just come to me with like, I have no idea. No, just give me something. Like, just give me something to work off. Even if I don't think you're correct at all, I want to hear that you've at least thought about this and you didn't just blatantly come to me because you didn't want to make a decision.
Yeah.
If you're in a hard place and you're like, hey, I don't think I'm the right person to make this decision, or I'm too emotionally involved, or I'm not in a good headspace to make this decision, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But if it's just like,
I don't want to.
Yeah, it's not my like,
job. Like, I don't know enough about it.
No, like just come to me and be like, hey, here's the situation. I think this is a good option. And I might be like, yeah, you're right. You're spot on. Or I might be like, well, you didn't think about this, this, and this. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do this thing. And this is why.
I think it's funny because we're very different, but we're also very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And we've worked together a lot, considering we don't work very well together.
We've worked near each other a lot.
Yes, we do not work well
hand in hand
when we have to do the same task. Like, if one of our tasks is dependent on the other, we have totally different trains of thought and direct.
If there's a trade-off of our tasks, it's not a problem. If you and I have to like assemble IKEA furniture together, it's going to be a problem. If you put like half of it together and then you're like, here's the other half, that's fine.
It's not even fine. I built the couch, you came home, you're like, oh, I thought we were going to play.
You did it wrong. You did it wrong in multiple ways.
I had a day to get the boxes, put them apart, build the couch, set the thing, because you guys were coming home.
I know. I'm not saying it wasn't like, and I didn't say anything until like after our guest had left. And then I'm like, by the way.
Right.
You put this together backwards.
Fucking said nothing. Anyway.
No, I had to say something. Because I was like, I thought we were building this way to do this. And then you're like, well, then where the fuck were you? And I'm like, by the way, the bed doesn't fit properly, so I'm going to have to fix that.
Did it work?
Yes.
Was it done?
Define done.
Was it done?
I mean,
could you sleep on it?
Yes.
It was done.
No.
I was going to say something nice, and now I don't want to.
If you finish the main storyline of a video game but don't do all the side quests, are you to finish that game?
Yes.
No.
That's like saying, did you get 100% on a test if you didn't answer the bonus question, but you got all the other questions right?
No, bonus is different.
Side quests are also different.
No,
then you can't finish the game.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
You have to finish all the side quests.
If you make it to the end, which is the end of the game,
the main storyline,
then you've won the game.
That doesn't mean you finished, though.
Is the point to finish or to win?
I don't know. You tell me.
I like to win.
I like to finish.
I know you do.
Fucking waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
I would rather win, and you would rather be right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with winning if I'm wrong.
That's just called like cheating.
Or is it just playing the game?
I guess. I mean, if you're playing the rules, then it's not cheating.
If you are able to understand the rules and find the loopholes and manipulate those rules to win the game without breaking a rule,
I agree.
Then that is how I prefer to play my life.
Yeah. And I would rather in a race finish the race and win than to be like, oh, the person in front of you had a 5-second penalty, so you're going to win, but you didn't really actually win.
Yeah.
Whereas you're like, I'm going to figure out how to fool the sensor on the fuel pump and then lead Ferrari to like an entire crazy season.
If it's not written in the rules, then yeah.
I mean, it was written in the rules, but there was a glaring omission, which is we are going to check the fuel, whatever it was, like fuel volume every 500th of a second. You're like, cool. Well, every other 500th of a second, I'm going to put more fuel in.
I would do that.
Yeah, I know.
To win.
I know.
But what I was going to say is that we have worked together and we have worked with people who have, I'm sure, their own opinions. But you, a lot of the time, people find you more intimidating.
Which I don't get.
Which you are like, out of the two of us, you are probably the safest person to go ask something to.
See, what's funny is like, you're scary, not intimidating.
I'm not scary.
The difference between like scary and intimidating is like the clown under the bed is scary, but your dad's intimidating.
I feel like you are intimidating across the board just because you're not animated all the time. Like you're usually more serious and right. Like you are at work, and so the boundary that you have is like, yes, I can be fun, but not when I'm here. Whereas I'm like, I don't give a shit where I am. This is like,
it's like the difference between like an open carry and a concealed carry. You're an open carry, which is a little scary because like there's the gun, I can see the gun,
but you know it's there.
Yeah. Whereas I'm a concealed carrier, like I don't know if that dude has a gun or not, but I'm gonna just be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm far less likely to use my weapon.
Right.
Whereas you are like, give me a reason. and you'll be like, come closer. A little bit, just a little bit closer.
I'm notorious for doing that to people.
Right. You will silently let someone, as you say, enough rope to themselves. And I'm more like, if you take one more step, I'm going to fucking shoot you. Yeah. Like, your choice. Yeah. This is what we've got to work with. Whereas you're like, do you want to come closer or not?
You tell them where the line is. I don't. And I'm like, you want to come a little closer? Like,
because I don't want to play.
Yeah, I know.
And there are people who are like, oh my God, like Jess is the nicest. I'm like,
that's because you never got near the line.
Because I can be the nicest, but I can also be your least favorite person on the planet very quickly, almost immediately for some people.
I don't know what's better or worse though. Like I know, like speaking, like when you and I have worked in the same company together, like the difference of opinion between the two. Whereas like both of us get our shit done, both of us manage people very differently. But
women tend to not mind. Like what?
Me or you?
Me.
Oh, okay.
When I work with women who are driven or who are like who have had similar experiences, right? Like having to be a woman in motorsports, for example, or being a woman in kitchens. Sometimes there's the personality clashes, right? Like that where you just got to get it out of the way, where it's like, I don't want your job, right? Yeah. Like, why are you being like that? It's either the best or the worst. A lot of the time, women, because I'm clear in what I'm expecting, I'm like, this is what I need from you. This is when I need it. This is what I want. Do not do this and we're fine. That communication, right, is appreciated because they think similarly. Right. Whereas whenever I do that with you or another like man who's in a position of authority or whatever, it's like, condense it. Say less. Points only. The number of times where I've had to condense and points only and then have someone be like, I didn't know that. I'm like, they're in your inbox, right? So like women tend to appreciate that communication that I give up front. So knowing that it's open carry, knowing how you're going to frustrate me. And until that point, if and until, you will get the best version of me. I will help you. I will jump in. I will cover for you. I'll make whatever phone calls you need to make. I will do the thing. I'll learn a whole new skill if that's how I can help you best do your job in my managerial role. For men, a lot of the time, it's, I already know what I'm doing. I don't need you to tell me. There's no way that you know more about wheels than I do, right? Whereas like, okay. And I won't play that game. Yeah. But if someone and that's not a 100% thing. It's just a majority of the time, that is how it's had to be, because women who have in that experience know where I'm coming from. And that like, if you're meek and you are timid, everyone knows that. Powerful women are scary. Women in a power suit, you assume you have two trains of thought. She either got there because she's damn good at her job, or she slept her way up there. Those are the two.
Yeah, was your boss a couple of times?
Not really.
I know.
But it's just I think men don't have to. Men who come off that way, like if you were to be like that, you would be immediately the asshole dude. Yeah. Right? You're less likely to be respected because it's like, why's he got to be that way? Men won't understand why you got to be that way. And women will be like, oh, cool, he's just another like, That's generalistic. I know that.
Yeah.
Relax.
We're speaking in broad terms.
But like, I think that that's part of the difference of opinion is you will also do things to a point, but you are also very much like a delegated task human. Yeah. You're like, I can solve the problem. I'm not going to physically do it. I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you who. I'm not doing it.
I like knowing the solution to an issue and wanting to motivate my staff to figure out the same solution, to come to the same conclusion. Knowing that like, okay, we have like, let's say 2 hours to solve this. I'm going to give you an hour to see if you can figure this out on your own. And if you don't, now we're going to take the second hour and I'm just going to do it.
Right.
And then I'm going to sit there and go, did you see what I just did?
It's why I think it makes, like, I will openly admit that I am a terrible trainer. Like, I have zero interest in training. I hate this thing. Training people.
It's kind of necessary. I kind of need it.
I'm just saying. I will openly admit.
You want to go to the headsets?
No. I don't know if they'll fit over
the space buttons.
I think that, like, comparatively, you are a much better manager and trainer than I am on a broader spectrum. Because you play the game of how do I utilize someone's strengths. You give the space, you give the time, you look at it logistically, and you'll identify very quickly, like if someone's good at it, like they might not be good at this, but they could be useful here. You don't write someone off.
Move them.
You move them, and you play chess in that way. Where it's like, I know all these people have these things. These are the things that I need, and I'm going to give you time to learn. And if you don't learn it in time, I'm going to show you. And if it's someone who can, you are someone who's like, let me show you, so you can do it. Right? Like teach a man how to fish. Yeah, you are very much that person. You have the patience for that. You have like the calm where someone can frustrate you and you're like, don't do that again. Whereas like I need a certain level of common sense or communication or drive. I need something tangible in order to like, because I can't break it down for you like that. Yeah. I could. I won't because it will make me snap.
I've seen it where you'll be like, okay, I'm going to do the thing and you just hang on. Yes. And like, you're going to just look over my shoulder and watch me do it. I don't have time to explain it to you. I'm just going to do it. Yes. And you better take notes. And that's what's going to happen here.
You are a better like university professor in the way that you can lecture and instruct and give specific direction. I am more of like a hands-on college, like we're going to build it. Yeah. And if you can't figure out how to build it after watching me build it with you, don't build this shit at all. Go do something else.
Find somewhere else to be.
Yeah. I'll do it myself. It's faster, right? And the argument in a lot of corporate settings is, yes, it's faster right now, but it's slower in the long term because this person doesn't know how to do it. And it's like, yes, for you. But for me, it's torture. Because now I'm watching this person do this thing so goddamn slowly. And they're still likely going to not do it as good as I can. And that is not a humble brag. It's like a mental illness. Like we know that it's debilitating and that I can't let things go. Yeah. So that, 70% is average and most people are fine and they don't notice the other 30 and people think of it like chunks, but it's more like, okay, you have an entire website. The website is functional. It looks good. Maybe there's a few things that are glitchy here or a page displays in a weird way here, or like this is off to the side. Those are the 30%. I will lose sleep. I'll be like, we can't launch it. Yeah. It's not perfect. So I struggle with that. If you give me something to do though, it will get done. And it'll get done 100% correctly.
But I've seen you train people. You have to train the correct people. Like if we find the right person that is like, hey, show me once and I got it. That's the person I give to you and be like, okay, listen, they may not know their shit yet, but
they've got the thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I've just got a different talent to very quickly understand how people learn and then teach them the way that they learn. You can bring people up to your level very quickly, whereas I take a bit longer, but it has to be the correct person.
You're also much better at teaching people. Not to say that you don't learn things, because you definitely teach yourself so much shit.
It's a problem.
But I am a much faster learner.
Yes.
And into that, like, it's good enough. Like, I learn things good enough that I can do something perfectly, not full time.
Yeah. But you teach yourself as you are doing it. Like, you will learn 50% of whatever that skill is to get you going. Yeah. And then once you get to that 50%, you're like, cool, I'm going to pick up the other 50 over the next week, day, hour, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Like, I learn very quickly in that, like, oh, you need a website built? Cool. I got you. Give me a week. And like, now I've built you a fully functional, completely live website on a platform I've never used before. Yeah. Is it as good as if a developer were to actually build it? No. Do I have limitations into what I can do? Yes.
I would say that like you and I, whatever the task is, like a meaningless task, right? You and I can learn that task to the same level in the same amount of time. The difference is you will pick up the first 50% faster than I will, but I will still reach that goal within, let's say, 2 weeks. You and I will both get to the same level within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You just front load the 50 in like a day. You will get 50% of the way there in a day, whereas I'll be like 10, 20, 30, 40, like all the way through. And that's kind of the difference. Like in the same way you read a book, right?
I don't read every word.
No, I know, but you'll get through a book and still get all the, like, you'll be able to blast through that way faster than I will.
Yeah.
But I will, as I have, listen to 100 books in a year and just like pace. And eventually you and I will get to the same level of books read. Yes. It's just very different how we get there.
You also focus a lot more on like efficiency, longevity.
Oh, I know.
And
annoying sometimes. Sometimes I wish I could just like, there are definitely times where I'm like, I wish I could just fucking bash it all together and just make it happen. And then other times where I'm like, I'm really happy I've learned how to do this. Like I will stop working on a project completely and be like, okay, the way I'm doing this right now is not a good way to be doing this. I need to take a minute, figure out the most efficient way to do it, and then move forward. And that's the same reason why you and I can learn a task in those two different times. You will beat your head against the wall until it's a bloody pulp to get to that 50%. Whereas I will get to 20 and then stop and be like, there might be a better way for me to do this, and completely stop progress in the middle of a task.
It's so annoying.
To then be like, okay. And then like, oh, I can do it this way. And then it's like, boop, 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 boop. And then I catch up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the methodical approach versus chaotic, right?
Yeah.
Like I am a conduit of chaos and you are a conduit of calm. So I think a lot of the time, whatever we're doing, that works because you tend to offset. And when it comes to parenting, when it comes to work things, like even when we were working together, we weren't working together. Like we're working in the same place.
Yeah.
Totally different. Like, yes, marketing, but very little of what you were doing affected what I was doing on a regular basis.
It was usually just the infrastructure I wanted you to use that you wouldn't use. That was about it.
I fucking hate
I'd be like, here's the organizational system. You're like, yeah, fuck that.
I live out of my downloads.
I know. Meanwhile, I have every piece of video I've ever recorded labeled by date, camera, and subject.
I guarantee I have deleted shit that you would have been like, why the fuck don't we have that? I'd be like, it was out of...
I didn't need it anymore.
It was in my like 6 months ago downloads. I have the same photo at least 75 times somewhere on one of my computers because I wasn't sure where it was and I just saved it again.
It's in your downloads.
This is my downloads, but like it's too far back to scroll. So I literally work out of like in the last 2 weeks, like that's it.
That's crazy.
But it gets done.
I know.
It gets done. But I'm also like, when it comes to kid stuff, work stuff, anything, I could go to you and say, hey, like, it took me a long time because I'm not good at asking for help. And usually because when I ask for help, I don't get it. Right? You guys, how many times I've been like, oh, this is your person. Like, go ask them for something. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'll do. And
I'm just going to do it.
And I did.
Yeah.
And better and faster. I was like, you're useless to me. Go away.
Yeah.
Don't pay this person anymore. And so for me though, I would get to a point where I'm like, okay, now I know all of these things, but it's not a problem, or it's a potential problem, or something happened where I'm like, actually, does this connect to something you did? Or is there a way? And I would come to you for that, like problem solving. You will solve a problem in the way that will solve the problem for the longest period of time or in the most efficient way and account for future problems.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I don't give a fuck about next week. This needs to be done today, and I will deal with whatever happens next week. But
it works out. It obviously works out well. Like even selling this house, right?
Yeah.
You could be like, hey, I'm gonna get all this shit done. I'm gonna get all the laundry done. I'm gonna get it all cleaned. Whereas I'm like, okay, here's plan A if it sells at this time. Here's what we do if it sells at this time. Here's what we do if it sells at this time. Meanwhile, you're sitting there going like, our house didn't sell today. What can we do right now to sell our house?
I want it fucking gone.
So do I. I want out of here. But like, that's the difference in the mindset is you will work on stuff right now to try and sell the house.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, hey, not that I'm not doing things to actively sell the house, but I'm like, okay, this is what we do if we get to this point. This is what we do if we get to this point.
Yeah. I have the this is going to make me sound fucking crazy. I am a little. I have the capacity to play the long game when I either want to hurt someone Or I think it'll benefit me
Yeah.
in a way that is more substantial than, right? Like when the war, not the battle. Whereas sometimes I'm like, no, I really want to win this battle, even if it maybe costs me the war, because I've already decided I don't give a fuck about the war in general.
Yeah.
This is the hill I will die on.
Yeah.
And I will be pragmatic and I will be like logical. And I take that approach in a workplace setting. I will never be risky. Like you are less risk averse than I am.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I am more risky in regular day-to-day activities. Like I will not think of the outcomes or the long-term consequences of shit regularly. But if it comes to someone else's like money, it's why I don't touch ads. Yeah. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. You want to give me how much money and you want me to just gamble with it?
Whereas what's funny though is that you gamble and I don't.
Yeah.
You will buy scratch tickets and I don't. And my job is to literally gamble with other people's money for a living.
I'll gamble with my own money.
Yeah.
Right? Just like in the same way, like I'll drive regularly.
Not fast at all. Whereas I will be more reckless in someone else's vehicle than I will my own.
If the kids are with me,
yeah,
I will drive appropriately.
Yes.
If they are not with me, I am living my F1 fantasy on the Formula 1.
in a 2016 Dodge Grand
Why does it
Caravan.
go to 200 miles per hour if it's not supposed to go that fast?
It doesn't. It goes to 200 kilometers an hour. But
That's
I know
what
what you're saying.
You know what I meant.
Those are two very different numbers.
200 kilometers an hour.
It's still quick.
Yeah. Why go that fast if it's not allowed to go that fast?
Have you ever gone that fast in the van, allegedly?
No.
Okay.
I've gotten into like 160. I'm like, I feel like I could go faster, but I don't feel like I could stop it fast enough. And I don't want to actually not be here. I might say I'd like to buy a coma. Like, can I buy a coma, please? But not for real. I've done that once. I don't remember.
Yeah, could you just not go into a coma anymore? That'd be great. I'm not a big fan of that.
I just want to try everything twice.
I'll remember that.
No, I think like I'm comfortably driving at like 140
most of the time.
Allegedly.
You have to say allegedly. I don't know if that actually gets you out of jail, but like that's what everyone says.
If hypothetically speaking, I would drive comfortably at 140 kilometers per hour.
Fair enough.
Without the children in the van.
Yes, of course. We do need a new van. So that's a great way to get it. Mostly because you'll get pulled over and it'll get impounded, and then we need to get a new vehicle.
I'm kind of hoping that'll just like combust a little in the front end. Like if it gets hot enough, it'll just, if I don't clear out the leaves, it'll just.
Is that why you haven't been cleaning out the leaves?
First of all, I've never cleaned out the leaves.
I know, I do.
I open that
because
hood
I don't want this
year.
to catch fire.
I've opened that hood. I opened it the other day when I put wind.
What's it called?
I know what it's called. I just can't say it. I want to call it window wiper, and it's not.
Nope, it is not.
You're an asshole. Windshield washer fluid. 5 bowls of bowl.
I was just gonna say, you beat me to it. 5 bowls of bowl.
I'm actually a little bit afraid to open the hood and something like be in there.
Well, the Fiesta had a mouse in it.
I know.
Yeah.
So I don't clean it out because like it could be, what if it's like bugs?
It's a very real possibility.
So I'm like, I could just let it burn a little. I didn't have windshield wiper fluid, washer fluid.
I mean, I feel like
for like 5 days. And I only put it in because I knew you were coming home the next day. And you still told me I did it wrong, and I didn't.
You didn't. It was just broken, and I don't know how that washer jet got broken. I think it just disintegrated.
The leaves.
Could be. Could be the leaves. Could be the leaves.
You love me.
I do love you. You know what else I love? Pork belly, and I'm getting hungry.
But you put mole in minutes on it.
Yeah, I just want to see. I did Chinese 5 spice last time, and it was good. It was just like, okay, let's try something else. And I'll eat it, even if it's not good. I'll eat that whole fucking pork belly. Not a problem.
I think I'll just cook my steak.
Yeah? You're not going to wait?
Takes like an hour to make that pork belly, no?
Yeah, but I'm not like starving. I'm hungry. What time is it?
I don't know. I left my phone upstairs. I was trying to enjoy the moment.
I put mine aside. See? It's over there.
It's 8:49?
8:49. I have no idea how long this has been.
When did we start?
Why does it only say 12 minutes? There's no way that's correct. Can you imagine if we didn't record any of this?
I can. That's very me coded.
It'll be somewhere else. It'll be on this program. Yeah, we're an hour and 15. That's a good podcast. How does it feel to do your first podcast?
I don't know. Is it real?
What do you mean?
Like, does it count?
Because you did it with me?
Yeah.
I'm like actually a podcaster, so yeah, I would hope so.
Is it nepotism? I hate nepotism. I hate this fucking thing.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Move it.
Well, then you need to.
Why
speak
is it so
differently.
big?
It's not. I mean, that's my old mic, AT2020. It's not bad. What? Don't do that.
I could.
The video is going to be live, so don't do that.
It's nothing. I mean, I think. Well, I already have my phone in my mouth.
Yeah, you did. Oh my god. It's chaos, pure chaos.
So,
So,
what about, okay. Lost it.
gone? That quick? Damn. I was going to ask you if you're going to post these on TikTok. What are you going to do with this?
Oh, I had not thought about it. That's a lie. I thought about it a little bit. I don't know. I guess if I think it's funny. I don't.
You guess if you think it's funny. Okay.
I don't know. Do people give a fuck?
About podcasts? Yeah, I would hope so.
Well, not about, that's a very generalization.
I think your fan base is like desperately craves more of you in a longer format to prove that.
Don't call it that.
Your fan base?
That's disgusting.
Do we have a name for them?
There are people who follow me.
Yes.
They're lovely humans.
I just watched your TikTok this morning. She was very nice. She was very nice.
She was so sweet.
Yeah.
And they always are sweet. I just really fucking hated that you were there.
Oh, I loved it. For everybody listening, both of you. We went to get shoes and I noticed as soon as we walked in.
I didn't.
I did. I picked it up immediately.
I don't know shit.
Yeah, we walked into Journeys and the lady behind the desk was very nice. Very, very nice. I could see it. Her like eyes like did one of those like looking over, looking back, looking over, looking back. And I was like, oh fuck, it's gonna happen. And then I saw her like start looking at her phone and like playing with her phone and then looking up and I'm like, yep, here it is. And then sure enough, like it was like 2 minutes later. I think you were trying on shoes at that point.
Yeah, my new Vans.
And just out of nowhere, she's like, I watched your new video this morning, and I was like, there it is. There it is.
I'm so awkward. It's okay.
You were fine. You did great.
It's one thing. I don't like being
Listen.
alive.
But wow.
I don't like
Hide the sharp objects. You can't say in your videos, if you see me, come say hi. I swear I'm not as awkward as like.
No, I do. No, I say.
Oh no, you say I'm as awkward as you think I am or something.
Because I do want people to know.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and this is, we've talked about this. I don't think about it. Right. Like I don't think about when I go out of my house, if someone's going to notice me.
You don't think that there are 3 full stadiums of people that follow you?
No,
or
that's fucking terrifying.
Or that the entire population, if you were to take your entire view count, that equals roughly the entire population of the United States?
No, I don't think about that because it fucks with my head. Because I don't. We've changed our goal, right? Because I've conceded.
More people know who you are than know who I am.
Yes.
Yes.
And I dislike
This sounds so terrible out of context. To explain, it was the opposite way around, that I continuously told Jess that more people knew who she was, and she would say that more people know who I was. It is a absolutely ridiculous battle of you're more famous than me is really what it boils down to. But in totally in like joking and just like it was just
in the most unserious possible way.
Right. Neither of us. Yeah. Just I think that's the best way to put it.
For context, I make $0
doing what you do.
Yes.
That's just because we live in Canada. It'll all change when we're in Florida.
But that has been like a grounding point.
Because you don't make money doing it?
It's so unserious.
But if you didn't live in this country, if you lived in America, you would have made have you calculated?
No, that's disgusting. I don't want to know.
Okay.
I cannot, I fucking knew it. I cannot explain.
Would you like to know?
No, you're going to tell me anyway, aren't you?
I don't have to. I can just whisper it into the mic. Just plug your ears and then everybody else can know. Would you like to know?
I don't like surprises, but I don't like secrets. Now it's a secret surprise, and that's double bullshit.
If you started producing that content the same time, like if nothing else changed, but you lived in America, you would have made approximately $40,000 by now in Creator Fund. That's without any partnerships, because a lot of brands don't partner with Canadians because our market is so small.
So listen, I don't, back to the point, I don't think about it. Like it does not, I did not get on TikTok. And this is my other argument is that like, it's not all of my social medias.
It's just TikTok.
It's just TikTok.
Yeah.
It was a outlet that became a test thing, right? Like it really was more of a work base, like what works, what doesn't, what picks up, what doesn't. And then it kind of just snowballed. And it's one of those things like once it starts, it doesn't really stop. And you'd been telling me that since I had 10K fall. Like I've had the same mentality from 10K to now. Yeah. That like, this isn't real.
You hit 10K quickly. No, I wouldn't say quickly. You had a very small following, like couple thousand maybe for a long period of time. And then it was your one reaction video of somebody cooking something. And then people like your facial expressions, like the way you emote is really what kicked it in. And then you hit 10K and I watched that go and then it hit like 20 or 30. And I started making timeline predictions as to what goal you would hit. And I was usually
you were pretty close and
pretty
it was
spot
a piss
on.
off. I don't
It's almost like it's my job to know these things.
Yeah, but it's different. It's different. Yeah. I don't view it like there are people who view it as an income stream. Yeah. Right? Like that is their job. That is their goal is to make it their job. They want to be an influencer. They want to be a creator. They want to go and do all these whatever. I don't want to go to your promo. Yeah. Like I don't.
Which is, the whole thing is ironic because that is what I wanted to do for 10 years. Exactly what you are doing right now is what I tried to do for 10 fucking years. Which I think is like, I'm not mad. Like I'm not bitter. I think it's amazing. Because I stopped trying to do it. And yours blew up and then mine blew up in a completely different direction.
Oh yeah. Like when we talked about like you doing this, like the seed that was planted, and the plant that fucking totally
came out of it. Yeah.
Like bamboozled for sure. But we made it work. But like now it's a whole other set of circumstances, right? So like now our kids are getting older and like internet safety and like they're not in my videos and I just have like they are, but only their voices, like their faces aren't there. And I don't think of it like I don't walk out of the house and be like 150,000 people follow me. And it's Xander. Of all people, where I'm like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. We were at the farmer's market, and there was another lovely lady. Like, and it happens more, probably once a week, which is insane. That's fucking crazy. I just want to make that very clear. Because I'm at Costco. I'm at the farmer's market. I'm buying like I'm doing regular people fucking eating ice cream, having dinner, life things. And people are like, oh my God, I love you. I follow you on TikTok. And it's never weird. I've been lucky that like, it's always very sweet or like, I didn't know what to say. Or like, I'm like, that's why I say that. Like, if you see me, cause I've had people afterwards be like, I saw you, whatever. And like, that makes me feel more weird. Like now you're like, voyeurism, like you're watching me from afar, like just
I'm not approachable.
Just let me know you're there. Just say that's what I want because I don't think about it. It is not real to me. It's not tangible to me. It could go away at any point in time. Right. But Xander, we were at when I was buying my Red Bull Racing shirt from the vintage place. Yeah. And she's like, oh, like if you could like tag me or follow me on Instagram or whatever. And Xander's like, do you have TikTok? I'm like, buddy. And she's like, no, like, I'm just getting my Instagram. I'm like, okay, well, like, I can probably do more for you if you had TikTok. And Xander's like, yeah, because she's famous. I'm like, dude. And like, I'm clearly uncomfortable. And he knows it.
Oh, yeah, he
loves to make me uncomfortable. He thinks it's so funny.
He likes making anybody uncomfortable.
And I was like, Xander, I was like, that's not true. It's not. He goes, okay, I'll just tell your 150,000 followers. I'm like, Xander. And I haven't even paid yet. So now I'm like, I can't leave. I have to buy what I have in my hands. Yeah. And I can't like backhand him, right? Because I'm like, you're so funny. And like we get on, he's like, ha ha ha. He's the worst. But then he'll rip on me. We get in the van. He's like, I don't know why like you tell people when Dad's not here. I'm like, because everyone knows Dad tells people he's not here. They can see he's not here. And he's like, yeah, but more people like now he's on your side. Yeah, but like more people follow you than they follow dad. So like if you're telling dad's telling like a group of people who like don't even live in Canada. And you're telling a bunch of people who like live here, and he gets into it, and then he'll be like, you shouldn't do that. Why do you do this? Why do you say that? I'm like, you just told someone for real.
She had no idea.
And now she can tell everyone at the farmer's market. He's like, yeah, well, you know, there was like 4 girls that were following me looking at their phone. And they're like, yeah, they know who you are. He's like, and kids at my school know who you are. And I'm like,
yeah.
What do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do? I can't undo it. So like, I don't hate it.
No, I know.
But it's also something that like, because it's not a goal. I don't have a goal like, oh, I want to reach half a million or whatever.
But I think because, what is it flashing for? Oh, interesting. That's always a good sign. Sorry. I think because it's not a goal, that is why it's working. Because you're not forcing it.
No, and I don't have a niche, right? So anytime it's like, oh, what do you post about? I'm like, I don't tell people. No one at work knows.
Oh, we do have to wrap it up. We're running out of memory. What?
Oh, shit.
How do we go through that much? Oh, because I recorded it all in 6K. That's fine.
Why 6K?
I don't know. Why not? It's telling me that we're almost done.
Are people going to know that I didn't pluck my eyebrows? Like, is it like that close?
Yeah. No, it's super tight. Yeah, it's super, super crazy focused. I think I know you didn't shave your legs either.
You know, for someone who loves me.
I do. A
You
lot.
embarrass me publicly.
I do not.
Often.
I do not embarrass you
You
publicly.
commented on Ronnie Radke's Stitch.
Yeah.
That I cried.
You did.
I did not. I did not.
Stay tuned for episode 2 where we discuss Jess crying in front of Ronnie Radke. We do have to wrap it up. We have 40 seconds. I love you.
Love you.
Pork belly?
Steak.
Okay. You have steak. I'll pork belly. Everybody listening, go follow Jess. She's more famous than me.
Oh, fuck.